Hello guys and welcome back. So today I want to show you how to make a really basic project using Python, and it's really just so basic that it uses the concepts and programs that I've made in my Python series. So if you haven't checked out the series, definitely go check it out. I'll put a link in the description and also a card on the top right hand corner of the screen. I recommend you go check it out before you start watching this tutorial, because you might be able to follow along, but you will not really understand a lot of what's happening and what is the code. So let me just show you what it actually does. So it's basically just a basic user login, and it asks you for a username first, which is basically just like a sign up. So you can just type whatever username you want. Let me just type maybe code, and then the password maybe just type 909, and then it will ask you for the email, which is not really required, but you can also type it in. So maybe I'll just type code. Now I've done a bit of a kind of errors in the spaces here and colons, but we'll fix that in the code. It's okay. So code maybe at gmail.com. This is just an example. And then it asks you for the username that you have previously typed. So first you've signed up, you've set a username up, and then you're going to actually need to type it. So in our case, it's code, and then it will tell you here if you got it right or wrong. So let's try and get the password wrong. Like, let's say 09, and we'll just say it's wrong. Works the same if you got the username wrong. So let's just type anything here. Code craft, and then we'll just pass by the email, and then we'll just type the username as maybe craft. That's wrong, and then the password is craft, which is right. So yeah, I get the idea. It works the same thing. It asks you as if it's like as a sign up, and then you start by like signing in. So with that said, let's get into the code. Okay, so the first step for us to do this is to after like you create a new file. I'm gonna call it basic user login. And then let's start coding. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create some variables that stores the sign up and sign in results. So let's start with the sign up part. So you could say you create a variable called sign underscore in underscore maybe username. Let's start with the username. And then you're going to set it to equal input maybe of, let's say, type your username, like this. Now after you've actually typed something, I'm gonna push this a bit here just so we have some space to code. Now after you've typed the input, make sure you add a space, because if you don't, then if you run it, you would see that there's no space. So I'll just delete the space and show you. Okay, so that was a mistake, sorry about that, but let's run it. And then you see that there would be like no space between the area where it asks and the reply. So make sure you add a space in the end. By the way, I've gone by mistake. Okay, so now we could create a variable for the password, and we're gonna do the same thing. So sign in password, or set it equal to the input of the same thing. Actually, I'm gonna copy that and paste it down there. Paste it down there. And then we're just gonna change that username to a password. Okay, so now you would have the, sorry, not sign in, sign up. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we have two variables that stores the username and the password, and now we're gonna do something optional. So we're gonna do sign up email. I'm gonna set that equal to the same thing, but we're just gonna say type your email instead of all these. So it's basically like the same concept, just like that. Okay, so now currently if you run the code, it will just ask you for these three things, and it will not really do anything else. Let me show you. So if I run the code, type your answer, and then sorry, username, and then I could just say maybe code, password, 90, email, just say .com, and nothing will happen really. Now, just a thing to know about user input. If you have user input, you can just type enter, and surprisingly, it will just not say anything. Like it will just skip through each one of them. And that's something good for like this kind of basic program because of this email thing, and not good if you're like doing a complex program, which you will definitely not use plain Python without a module. But we'll stick with the basic level right now. So we got the sign up variables out of the way. Now we can start having the sign in variables. So first we're going to start by declaring the first variable, or defining the first variable, which is sign in username. So set that equal to the input of what is the username. By the way, feel free to type whatever you want into these input areas. I'm just typing like this for an example, but you can type something else, like maybe username, that's it, or maybe sign up with the username or something like that. But I'm just doing this right now for the tutorial. So after you've declared this variable, we're going to do an if statement, and make sure it is before you declare the sign-in password, because it's really important. It's not, but it's important if you want it to like the format as I'm doing. But if you really don't want to and you just want to have the results at the end, then you can declare the variables first and then define them. So now I'll show you what I mean by what I said. So first let's start with the if statement. So if I say sign in username is equal to sign up username, like this. Then I'm gonna print out, right. Now you can print out anything again. Just doing this as an example. Else, so if it's anything else, then print, print wrong. Okay, so what this basically does is that it takes the sign in username, which we will type, and it's gonna check if it is as the username that we used to sign up. Okay, so this is what it basically does. It just checks if what we typed in the sign in is equal to the sign up. If it is, then we're gonna say it's right because the username is right. We signed up with a specific username and we're gonna sign with the same username. If it is not right, then it's just gonna print out wrong because the username is, well, wrong. So now you can do the same exact thing with the sign in password. So if, sorry, first we're gonna declare sign in password. Now make sure when you're defining it not to type pass because it's a keyword or a command. So don't type pass, type password. And by the way, do not type spaces in variables. Okay, so sign in. So sign in password is equal to, and then it's just the input, the same thing over here. So we're gonna say the same thing, but here we're just gonna say password instead, and then we're gonna do the same concept. So if sign in password is equal to the sign up password, is over here, sign up password, then we're gonna print out right again, else, type anything else, I'm gonna print wrong, just like this. So this basically works just like the username, and by the way, it's not really a need to do one for the email because it doesn't really sometimes ask you the email when you're logging in, but you can actually do that using the same concept. So just create a variable, sign an email, just set it to the what is the email, and then it's gonna loop through again. So if sign in so if sign in email is equal to sign up email, then just print right or print wrong. So this is basically how it works. And if you run it right now, you after the program is complete, you're gonna type the username. So just call it code, and then the password pi script maybe, and then for the email, let's type something random, maybe just .com. So now it's gonna ask you for the username, which you can type then code, or you can just type it wrong if you want to test it out. So let's try that. It's wrong. And then for about the password, if you type like, let's type the real password like by script. Okay, so it says it's right. And this is how it basically works. Now, as I told you, you can do the same concept with the email, but I just don't want to do that, really. It's just the same concept. And yeah, so that's it for the sign up and sign in username password. So I'm planning to do like a part 2 on it where I modify things, I make a bit more sensitivity in password. Maybe I'll change things up, but that is after maybe I cover these kind of more advanced topics in my Python series. So if you like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next part.